So another episode of Rise Above Noise. It's interesting. Of all the things, right? Like all the things that we can do as business owners, you're like, should I do that? Should I not do that? And I let things go sometimes, right? So this spotlight was something that I let go. And just because of the time involved in the editing and then putting it out there. But you know what, Regina, I just love it. I just love having this opportunity to share somebody within the Rise Above Noise group or on the Rise Above Noise YouTube or wherever, because none of us are in this alone. Like, it's impossible to be a solopreneur in a vacuum. It just doesn't happen that way. And when we have opportunities to shine the spotlight on somebody else, at the same time being able to communicate and let people know kind of what our vibe is, I don't take that lightly, and I love it. And so back at it. And I'm so glad, because I know that you have something you're going to be talking about, a challenge you're doing next week. I have something coming up. So both of these things that we're going to talk about will so serve the Rise Above Noise community, right? It's just a good time to find your community. But also, I was looking at the offer of the challenge that you're going to be doing next week. And it's about, what can we do to gain clarity? There's so many of us as solopreneurs or small business owners, and in particular, coaches, consultants, course creators, people who are bringing people from one place in their life to another place. And we just get this information overload. I have this vision in my head. It's kind of like a cartoon thing, where here's my client and I have, pictures of who my ideal clients are, and they make differences in the world, right? And technology is not necessarily what they thought they were going to be doing when they decided to become a coach, right? And so then, but they know, right? Like, if you don't show up, people don't know you're there. And so what do you do to show up? That's marketing, so that people are like, oh, she does that. Oh, she helps those people, right? It's always about, what are the problems that you're solving? And I know you're so good at teasing that out of people when they're creating their offers. And I have this picture in my head. All right, so there's a coach that I'm working with, and she makes a real difference in the world. She's changing lives, and and so she's like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And she opens up her computer and goes on the internet, and I have this picture of like a fire hose come at her, right? And like information, and she's trying to grab. It's just like, it's such a strong vision for me. And it's just information overload. And then she does grab something and grabs something else and grabs something else and tries to do all the things, and then just feels scattered.
Yeah.
And is like trying, and then is likely, if it's like me, right? If I'm like, what should I do? And then I have 15 tabs open and I can't figure it out. And one thing frustrates me, and I say, I'll do it later. And I go take the dog for a walk, or I go feed the chickens, right? And then I'm like, I don't really feel like doing that now. I'll do it tomorrow. And it's easy to kick it down the lane, which I think is why your challenge is going to be so brilliant. And so both of us, I think, are trying to put a lid on that scattered, right? Like, help people not feel so isolated, make sure that they feel supported, and that they stop that procrastinating. They stop that I'll do it later, right? And I think that's why challenge is so brilliant. And also, and I know that you do this with your clients, because I am a client of yours, and I do this with my client, that, because we've worked together for so long, that it's important in whatever we're creating, whether it's creating your offer suite, or in my case, I'm creating a growth community where people will be able to, that's my mission, quiet the noise. But where I'm coming to is, have permission to be in a community where we get to truly be ourselves, where it's so that we can shut off that lizard brain and just really work in the part of our brain where we're being creative, and we're step by step, right? Doing the things that are going to bring us down the road, that GPS bringing us to the road. And I think that is the really important thing. I've been in groups, you've probably been in groups too, but where it's, oh, it's nice to be challenged. But sometimes you're like, I have this idea, or here's something I hear, like if you're working on, let's say you're working on your elevator speech only, because this just happened to me this week. And I say, well, what do you think about this? And then they're like, and people are very kind, but you get it, right? Like you want to be able to try something out and get constructive feedback that doesn't make you feel crappy. Right. And I think that's one of your strengths too, is really getting into the head of people and what they're trying to do.
Well,
So,
and I think if I may, because I
sure.
have been working with you for so long, I think that's why your program that you're working on is going to be so important for people, because first of all, we all need to learn our own discernment. So it's great to bounce ideas off of, you go to this group and you bounce some ideas off, and you bounce some ideas off over at this group too. And you're going to get varying opinions based on other people's perception of you or their own preferences. So with a group like the one that you're creating, to be able to just have, all right, this is my trusted people. This is where I can fall flat on my face and I can try on this new lipstick and have people go, oh, tone it down a little tiny bit, but I know where you're going with it. But then also kind of start to learn our own discernment in what really sits well with us. And you had even brought up in the beginning that you had dropped the spotlight for a while, thinking like, oh, it takes too much time and my business needs to X, Y, and Z. And this isn't really pulling it in a direction that's helping me financially. But then when you really didn't have it anymore, you realize how much that actually lights you up in the way that you need as well, which is why we're doing business. So
Exactly.
have all those pieces. Yeah.
Finding what lights you up, right? That is so important. And to go back to the group for a second, and then I'll read your official bio. But
Yeah.
it's what, and you had said something like that too, is to pull in the resources. And I know that so many of the people that come to me are like, I don't even know who to listen to, right?
Right.
Like I said, they've got all the tabs open and then they get frozen. And because I've been doing this 18 years, right? Community building anyway, just got to marketing. I've been doing about 15 years, community building for 18 years when I started the Women's Business Network of Southeastern Massachusetts, where we first met that many years ago. And knowing that I am a community builder and that I know all these people, like I always picture like this backpack that I have with all the cool people I've met and the changes they bring. And so within the Rise Together community, what's going to happen is they have access to master classes that they can consume on their own with all of these people that I trust and I'm bringing into the community. Now, they're not going to be there on the weekly, right? It's just a matter of, here's a little taste of something somebody has given us. It's all based on generosity. It's all based on giving. And maybe this is like, here's a good place to start. And then sharing the ideas and making sure that we're following up with each other to help make all of the boats rise at the same time. And it feels really good. And I think that's where we're going. We don't need any more learning, but we do need more doing. So we're going to talk about your offers. So if you guys don't know, like Regina and I are talking because we've known each other for so many years, but let me introduce you to my friend, Regina. She is your offer queen, funnel builder, and mad scientist. When it comes to program development for online business, she is your human GPS. She's your GPS system mapping, and she's going to help you map a crave-worthy customer journey that puts you first. Regina's on a mission to create 100 online business legends, that could be you if you're listening, who have cracked a code to more freedom and money through killer custom flow. And it doesn't say it here, but I'm assuming that means in your online. Oh, you do say online business, right? It's like when you're creating whatever your online products are. So when I asked Regina what her superpower is, she said cognitive flexibility. So tell me about that.
Well, So I was born a creative being. Big imagination. I need lots of playtime in my day to problem solve. And I kind of already just opened the door to where it is that the way I use my creativity has always been through problem solving. My grandmother, God rest her soul, was amazing, took care of me for my formative years and my brain development years. And we played games. And I know it kind of sounds kind of silly, but this is, I believe, the reason why I'm able to take the creative brain and then the mapping and the problem solving and the strategy and put them together. Because when I tell you this woman played games with me, we were not playing Go Fish. We were playing dominoes and Scrabble when I was 6 years old and didn't even know what the words meant, but I knew how to spell them. And then she would challenge me to figure out, not look up, figure out what the word meant. So we were always doing those kinds of games. And so it's just something that comes very naturally to me. I wake up in the morning and I'm already solving other people's problems, which I guess is kind of a problem, but it's a lot of fun for me. And I get to use that creative ability. So I asked Google, and Google told me that is actually cognitive flexibility.
I love that. I play a lot. My family and I play a lot of games. Oh, that's so interesting that you tied that together. So with the work that you do then, so you've already kind of tied into that, right? Like you're problem solving. And tell me a little bit more about that. You can use me as an example or any of the clients, like they come to you, they want what? And then how do you guide them towards that?
Yeah, well, I think that this solopreneur thing, right? We all want two things, freedom and money. And I know that sometimes money sounds like a bad word, and we say, freedom and revenue and but it's the money, and they go hand in hand. And everybody's idea of what that is totally different. Success to one person is completely different than another. It might mean that, you have enough funds to be able to stay home and take care of your grandchildren, or play with your chickens in your backyard. Or somebody else's idea of success, i.e. money and freedom, is being able to work in Tahiti. So it's really, really what I'm finding is people are building businesses based on, like we said, like, what the gurus or what we learned or what we should do, should. So I always work with people now at this stage of the game where I start with, okay, you want to have some offers, you already have some offers, or maybe you don't, but you know where you want to go. Let's talk about your ideal lifestyle, because let's not build a business that is, high touch from you if you're hoping to take, 6 months off a year. So did I answer the question?
Well, no, yeah, well, you did. So I'm like, I'm like, hey, Regina, I want to take 6 months off and work in Tahiti. And and you're like, well, what do you want to do? Right. So all right. So I came to Regina, I want to create a course.
Yeah.
And so you're going to go through a process with me. We can't go through the whole thing here. And I do want to talk about the offer suite that we're talking about. So maybe this is a good place. Like, is this where you would say, oh, there's a 3-stage offer suite. Let me tell you about it. Is that where you would?
Yeah. I mean, it's something that I was doing kind of just naturally and intuitively. And then I sat down and really was challenged to write out like what that is, what goes on in my brain, what kinds of questions are important. So I have created through hundreds of hours of working with small businesses like us. I'm in the same boat. I'm one too, where we uncover the way you want to live. So a lot of times we think about what our potential client needs from us, our potential customer needs from us, without putting our own needs in that equation. So I start there with, you want to live in Tahiti 6 months out of the year. Okay. And then we talk about the things that light you up, that make you happy. What skill set do you have? We have some skills that I might be able to cook I happen to love cooking, but somebody might be able to cook, but they don't like cooking. So we're certainly not going to build a business around that. So I have like 3 questions that we go through, and then from there we talk about the offers and how they can tie together. And for one person, they might have more of a seasonal, cyclical seasonal way that they do their offers. Another person might have, 3 offers that can string together at any point, and we develop them in that way, thinking about where you're going to be 6 months out of the year.
And where do you think people get stuck? I've talked to so many people, right? And I was in Amy Porterfield's courses forever, and I don't know what the success rate is there. They'll tell you that it's really high. I'm not sure. Like there's 2 parts of it, really. There's creating the product, and then there's the selling. Well, 3: creating the product, selling the product, and then supporting the users of the product, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So where do people get stuck?
People, gosh, I think what happens is we're so close to our own stuff that they can't take a bird's eye view. And because we are experts in our field, it's hard for us to realize how to break that down into small little digestible pieces so that our customers can be successful, because we're talking way up here at this level, expecting people to understand what we're talking about, and they need this little chunk first. So I think that that's a big one. They get a little tripped up in that department. I definitely see that there is, even for those of us who do make the leap and do jump out there and do start and do get going, which I believe in 100%, but there does come a point where, right, you've got to get moving. A lot of people are just literally stuck on the train station platform going, which one should I do? Or I'm not good enough. But if we can break it down into those small little things, it makes us realize just how much we do know. And then to your point, the selling is something that, again, we're so close to. We don't really understand the language needed to talk to. We know what our avatar is, but we don't really transition that into how to talk to them. But then where we little solopreneurs, the little engines that can start to level this playing field, I've been realizing more and more, and doing some research and finding that like only the top 10% businesses that are out there are doing a amazing job with their customer follow through. So when someone does make a purchase with us, only the top 10% of businesses out there are doing it really, really well. Staying in front of them, keeping them moving, keeping them feeling successful so that they continue. I mean, how many courses have we all bought? And sometimes I don't even open them.
Yeah,
because
same.
look, I go to open it and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know where to start. This is all stuff that I don't know, that I don't even know where to start. So if we can do a better job of doing that, because we're so close to our customers, because quite honestly, I feel like we do care more than those big giant businesses, we'll be able to start kind of climbing that, not the ladder necessarily isn't really what I want to say, but leveling the playing field and stacking the deck in our favor, to go back to my grandmother.
Love that you brought that back. So that's an interesting thing. I think we could spend a minute or two on is even when you make, let's say it's a course or an online product, and even when you've sold it, so the money's okay, but the way to continue the relationship with the person who buys it is to really love them up, right? Is to say, I get it. Thanks for coming. I'm not going to leave you stranded. And so I would imagine it's kind of like an onboarding, or how do you?
Yeah. I mean, I can even give a quick little tip for anybody that's listening, and even for yourself. What I would do is I would write down, the 3 things that they need to do day one. And sometimes it's just logging in and saying hi, or going to the Facebook group and saying hi and getting their foot wet and getting, right? It's not, go in here and tackle topic 1 and write out your 3-month plan. It's open the darn, take it into these tiny little steps. And if along the way, you can also set up some automations that can easily touch base. And even, it's almost like, I know that you talk a lot and you're amazing at this, helping people with their nurture sequence for a freebie or a low ticket offer. Well, so too do you need to do those same steps with people who have purchased something from you. Even if you send an email out on day 5 that also has something simple, the link to the login to your materials. And then a few days later, a link to specifically one little area. And because we've gotten so prone now to having information come to us, right? If we think about Facebook, if we think about Instagram, if we think about LinkedIn, all of this information is always coming to us. And then we make this investment, but our brains are trained to have the information come to us, not go seek it out. And I think that if you can just look at it that way and create a habit of, even though it's available to them to go surf and Netflix it out if they want to, even if you think about Netflix will still pop up this little thing and remind you that you haven't finished watching Game of Thrones yet. Right?
Right, you're right.
So, yeah.
I'm writing all these notes in here and it's hard to keep up because you're dropping so many good bombs here. All right, so let's talk about ways people can get started within the next week. You have something coming up next week and I'm super excited about it. I've blocked out time Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. Tell me about them.
Yes. I have broken down this framework to create your perfect offer suite. I believe that everyone should have at least 3 offers for many, many reasons. I'll tell you right now because I get so excited about it. The reason why you need to have at least 3 is that we don't want to predetermine where a customer wants us. So if we can have 3 levels, and I'm not going to put a dollar amount on them, but 3 levels of help that you can offer them so that they can choose, so that you're not predetermining what they're going to start with. And then I also work with people to figure out how to connect them together. But next week, we are figuring out what that offer suite is. We're using my 3x3 framework. We're going to go through your ideal dream life that you want to live. Then we take your brilliance and I help you kind of go out there and curate all those things so that you're not just thinking about where you are now, but kind of all of the things so that you can take a bird's eye view of it. And then on day 3, we put those offer suites together. I am highly brainstormy. I like to kind of go off on tangents. So I'm going to be delivering the things that you need to be thinking about. And then we're going to do hot seat coaching. Every single day of that is going to be a lot of hot seat coaching, as well as feedback threads within the group Facebook group that we'll be sharing together for people who've watched replays, or you went to bed and woke up the next morning and realized, oh my God, I want to be a beekeeper and I want to teach other people how to be a beekeeper. And this is so exciting to me. I never thought of this. You can put it in there and get some feedback and get people talking and brainstorming, and I'll be in there as well.
Love this. So this is for, let's just make sure that people know, is this for me? They may or may not understand. Is this for, so this is for somebody who is what?
Oh my goodness. So if you have that entrepreneurial spirit and you just know you've got something in you that you want to bring out, and you're still, like I said earlier, standing on that platform going, I don't know if I want to jump. Where do I start? This is a really great place to start because this will be your foundation. A lot of us skip it and go, oh, I'm really good at this. And we open a business without putting this first. If you've been throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping that something works out, this is a good place. And when I say spaghetti at the wall, I mean, maybe you have 10 offers out there and none of them really make sense. And it's time to reconfigure and take a look at them. And then also for people who might even be like fairly successful in their business, and then they're looking in the mirror and going, I'm exhausted. Exhausted. So let's take a look at it from fresh eyes, because even if you're a newbie or haven't jumped in, we're going to take a look at your everything from fresh eyes, fresh perspective. Whew.
So if you're ready, I'm going to type this. This is for you. If you're ready to take a look. You know, I should probably do this after, but I like to take my notes while we're doing this. You know what you're talking
I guess a fresh look at where you are, where you're going, who you want to be, what your talents are, what makes you happy.
Right. Control your time. I know that's a conversation you and I have quite a bit. And a lot of people know that, right? That to me is my win in being a solopreneur is I put in 3 long days, right? So 3 probably longer days a week so that I have my Wednesdays free to be with my grandbabies, and Friday mornings are to work in my business with my CEO Power Hour and some masterminding. And then I have Friday afternoons to walk on the beach. So, or wherever it is that I want to be. So I think that that's what having everything that Regina just said, I think that's what it is what do you have to offer? Now I've seen, because I've been in Amy Porterfield's course, and then I've met the people in your memberships too. People do things you don't even think about, and they're wildly successful, right? Like you said, cooking, or gosh, somebody was teaching Greek phrases or something like that. Like whatever people love. Yes, beekeeping. I am obsessed with beekeeping. Here's the thing about beekeeping. People are so nice in the groups and in the courses and everything. But there are also some nasty, like I feel like there's like there's the nice bees. Honeybees are so nice. I don't want to get too far into a tangent. And then there's like those wasps, which are just jerks with wings. And I feel like sometimes you ask for advice in a beekeeping group and everybody's so nice and they're so nice. And then there's the wasp like, what'd you do that for? That was so stupid. I'm like, oh, be nice. All right. That was a tangent about beekeeping.
Boy, we could write a book about how the business world from the eyes of a honey hive.
Bees are, anyone wants to have a talk about bees, it's just flipping fascinating what they do, and I'm just learning. I lost my hive last year, but I'll have a new one this year. So this is starting on Tuesday, May 16th. I've dropped the link into the chat. They can expect to be live with you, and it's going to be in a group, right? So it's recorded, so they can come back if they can't go. But I would recommend going live so that you can get that brainstorming and that feedback from Regina. And then there's some homework. Like you're going to give them a challenge, and then there's going to be some homework, and then they're going to come back the next day and offer up what they've done.
Yes, because these 3 pieces connect together. So weave them together and come up with some really great ideas. And when people sign up, they're also given a little quick questionnaire, and I will be using information from that in my examples. So even when I go live, when I talk about, it's always great to talk about examples so that we can understand the concept. So I'll be able to pull from what people are answering in that questionnaire as part of the presentation as well. So
super exciting. And I had another question. Oh, but anyway, other than this challenge, you do work with one-on-one clients. And why don't you tell me quickly about that? Because somebody might be like, yeah, that's great. I just want her to do it for me or with me. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So there's 2 pieces in my opinion. So I am a Kajabi implementer. I've been in Kajabi now for 4 years. It's where I live, work, and play, and I love it. And what I found was most people, when they come to me to implement, they really don't have everything together that they need to have it implement. So I've separated those 2 things, and I work with people one-on-one as well to discover their offers, determine what's inside the offer specifically. We create the sales language, we create the customer follow-up, the thank you pages, all of that stuff. And then whether they want to DIY it themselves whether they want to then take that information and work with a copywriter to actually write all of their stuff in their voice, because that might be a skill that they need, or hire a different VA, because I only work in Kajabi. But then if they do want me to do the implementation, I do that as well. So I have some different types of packages that I work with people either over the long term or short term. So I think we talked about as well, I do a offer intensive. So it's something that I work one-on-one with people, and we really suss out exactly what should be in their offer suite or could be in their offer suite, and get all their language together.
I love that word. I like that term, office suite, because it seems to like just package it up so nicely for us.
It does.
Right. Where it's because I used that word before, that we just feel scattered. We've got a little something here, a little something there. That's why I personally am looking forward to your challenge next week, is to just get some clarity on what it is that I offer, how I can support people. So knowing that you have that superpower to help people put things in order, make sense of it, and then bring it to the next level so that it's supporting them. So their business is supporting them instead of them supporting their business necessarily.
Yeah, absolutely.
So good. I'll put the link to your office. What did you say? Your offer suite.
Offer suite.
in
Yes.
there, and your regular, I'll put all of the links in here. You guys, Regina's tagged a million times in this group. I'm going to just go quick and see if there are any questions. I was typing so much that maybe I missed a question. I think that's it, but go ahead. If you are watching this later and you have a question, go ahead and put it in there and tag either myself or Regina. We will be watching this to make sure that all of your answers are sent to you. And Regina, thank you so much. Always good to be with you. And I'll see you next Tuesday for sure.
Yes, yes. All right. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you, and have a great afternoon.